All right, guys, Wes here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have some exciting updates for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and now that the big summer direct has concluded, it left fans kind of wondering what the status of future DLC for Tears of the Kingdom is. So in this video, I will be delving into the mysteries surrounding the upcoming expansion, and along with that, we got a new unlimited Rupee Glitch that was discovered that is breaking Tears of the Kingdom as well, so I'll teach you guys how to do that. We also just got some brand new details regarding Nintendo's next generation Switch, or the Switch 2, which has some big implications for the future of the game, but more on that in just a bit. The first thing we have to talk about is a recently discovered glitch that can make Tears of the Kingdom super easy if you have some extra time to kill in order to truly take advantage of it. So what you have to do is make 2 meat weapons, preferably out of gourmet meat, and fuse them together with Ultra Hand. Then use auto build until you've got 21 meat clubs fused together. Once the giant meat stick is stored in your auto build, and then all you have to do is fast travel to somewhere cold, and then just pull out the giant meat stick, and it'll hover for a bit, and then it'll eventually all fall, and it will turn into icy gourmet meat. From there, you can just go ahead and pick up all of the gourmet meat, pull out your auto build, and then rinse and repeat. Just make sure you keep it hovering inside the purple circle, because after a couple seconds, the meat will freeze and fall to the floor, allowing you to hoard them at roughly 40 rupees each. Now, there's a few ways you could speed it up or slow down the process, but according to some players, you could collect thousands of rupees at just a single time. So once you've collected all of the icy gourmet, you take it to a place to sell it. I personally recommend the shop in Kakariko Village, and then after that, fast travel back to a cold place, and like I said, just kind of rinse and repeat. So if you're currently pressed for some rupees in Tears of the Kingdom, definitely take advantage of this before Nintendo inevitably patches it out. If you guys know me, then you know that I'm a huge fan of modding my games that I play, from Skyrim mods to Fallout 4 to even Minecraft. But what if you had the knowledge and experience to create your own video games and turn it into an actual career with opportunities for growth? If that sounds exciting to you, then let me tell you about today's video sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University. SNHU has one of the largest accredited nonprofit online degree offerings in the country. But today I'd like to talk to you about their video game development program. In this program, you're going to learn how to create realistic dynamic gameplay experiences with game AI, game physics, 2D and 3D graphics and interface design. You'll also learn computer programming languages like C++, C#, and Java, and you'll learn 3D modeling and texturing with game art software. You will learn how to research, develop, and contribute to advances and trends within the field of game programming. The courses are also taught by faculty with real-world experience. SNHU is radically affordable. Their online tuition rates are some of the lowest in the nation. So go to snhu.edu and click my link in the description to see what the current average annual salary for a programmer is and request free information about the program. Now, when you request info, a real person will hop on a call and discuss how the program can benefit you personally. It really only takes 1 click to find your calling. And a big thank you to SNHU for sponsoring today's video. Moving right along, the most recent Nintendo Direct was strangely quiet about the potential for Tears of the Kingdom DLC, and I think there's a good reason for that. It's heavily rumored right now that there will be another Nintendo Direct presentation sometime this fall that's going to announce a new console, which is pretty much all but confirmed. We actually have some new comments from Nintendo's president that we're going to talk about in a bit. You can check the video chapters if you'd like to skip to that section though. Now, like I said, it's all but confirmed at this point that Nintendo is working on a successor to the Nintendo Switch that many are calling the Switch 2, or back in the day, if you remember, the Nintendo Switch Pro, and it makes total sense given the fact that Nintendo Switch launched back in 2017, and now there's a big demand for handheld systems. You see the Steam Deck releasing the ROG Ally, the Project Q streaming handheld from PlayStation. So needless to say, there is a big demand for handhelds, especially ones that are technically impressive. It's undeniable that the Switch is incredibly underpowered. Nintendo needs a bit of a refresh, and multiple insiders are claiming that the new Nintendo Switch hardware is going to be revealed by the end of the year and then released in 2024. So if Nintendo is planning on holding another direct presentation in September, or rather just sometime this fall, which is the current rumor, I wouldn't be surprised if they announce new hardware there, but also drop the massive news of Tears of the Kingdom DLC as a way to hype it up. Now, some people have been a little doubtful that Nintendo actually has plans for an expansion, but as some people have pointed out, Nintendo's own website has already indirectly confirmed some kind of DLC by accident. If you scroll down to the bottom of Nintendo store page for Tears of the Kingdom, you'll see a sentence that says, "Full version of the game required to use DLC sold separately." Now, this flat out confirms that some kind of paid downloadable content will be added to the game at some point in the future. Now, interestingly, this disclaimer was removed from the website after being discovered by fans and spread around the internet, so it is possible that this was added to the store page on accident, but what's more likely is someone just added it with the knowledge the DLC was coming. But since Nintendo still hasn't officially announced any expansion, they quietly deleted it once people started noticing. If you go to the Wayback Machine, you could see the sentence is still there, but it has since been removed. Now, as for what an expansion will contain, there's a few theories that I personally have. I think think it's very likely that the expansion will include master mode to the first expansion, similar to what they did with the master trials of Breath of the Wild, but maybe name it something different. My personal guess is the Zonai trials, basically just a new way to level up the master sword to its full energy. I'm also expecting a future expansion to include new shrines and perhaps new items and enemy types. Now, it is possible that Nintendo might not want to go too hard with expansions this time around, since the base game is already so big, and I'd imagine that adding much more at this point might lead to technical problems. But I'm expecting the DLC to basically just expand upon what's already there, while also bringing master mode and some sort of trial of the sword. Like I said, if we take a look at what Breath of the Wild did, their first DLC pack was much smaller with the master trials, which was quite a bit of a challenge. It also gave us master mode, but the big expansion to Breath of the Wild was in the form of the Champion's Ballad that included the new shrines in a big dungeon under the Shrine of Resurrection. With Tears of the Kingdom sky being so vast, I can easily see them using the sky as the location for at least one of the DLCs, whether that's the Zonai trials or some way that we could power up the level of the master sword, and then the second expansion have that focus on the depths. Now, one thing I'm also expecting from post-launch DLC support for Tears of the Kingdom is at least one more expansion after the first one, possibly ending with 3 total, maybe even 4. This game was a raging success, and Nintendo obviously wants to keep that success rolling for as long as they can. Now, with the Switch slowly running out of upcoming exclusives, it's very possible that the company wants to stick with what's already out there and already working, and then use later expansions as a way to encourage people to upgrade to the new system by making the game backwards compatible, which is already confirmed. We'll talk about that in just a bit, or possibly even locking the expansions to the next generation version of the game, which is similar to what CDPR is doing with their expansion of Cyberpunk 2077, where the Xbox One and PS4 versions will not be supported. So when are these expansions actually coming? We can speculate all we want, but ultimately I know you guys are excited to get your hands on the new content, and so am I. Like, I am so ready for more content. I actually just started my second playthrough of the game. Personally, I think if the rumors of there being multiple expansions and development are true, that means we should start getting a trickle of expansions later this year. Honestly, if the first expansion is revealed in September or sometime this fall, I think it will launch by the end of the year, or just hot dropped it like they did with a previous expansion of Breath of the Wild. And then for the second paid expansion, it will release alongside the Switch 2 with the goal of generating early sales, assuming the new console will run the Switch's game with improved performance, which I think is safe to say that that could be the case. However, if Nintendo does not reveal any DLC during the rumored direct for this fall, I think we'll have to wait until at least the launch of the Switch 2 or whatever the next console is, because as eager Nintendo probably is to get this expansion pass onto the eShop, I think they probably know how much more money would be generated by launching the DLC alongside Switch 2. Now, speaking of the Nintendo Switch 2, we just got a bunch of updates straight from Nintendo's president Shuntaro Furukawa in a recent Q&A with investors. When asked about the transition to the new Nintendo hardware, he confirmed that the Switch and all of the digital content will transfer to the next generation. He said, and I quote, "Regarding the transition to the next gen consoles, in the past, hardware was the only way we could connect with our customers. With new hardware, we had to rebuild our relationship with our customers. On the other hand, with the Nintendo Switch, we could directly connect with various customers through Nintendo accounts." So what does this mean for Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and the Nintendo Switch ecosystem? Well, first off, it means that when the new Switch releases, we won't have to buy the game or the DLC again, which is a huge win. And I've theorized for a while that whatever Nintendo's next console it will be will include some type of enhanced version of current Nintendo Switch games, mainly Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Since we likely won't be getting a new Zelda for at least a half a decade, they could develop an enhanced edition for the new Switch and use that as easy marketing to get people to upgrade, which is basically the same strategy that Xbox and PlayStation are currently doing. Now, in the ongoing Microsoft versus FTC trial, the CEO of Activision revealed an interesting piece of news regarding the upcoming Nintendo Switch console. According to his testimony, the specs of the next generation Switch will be on par with the Xbox One and PS4. If this ends up being true, Nintendo will have the opportunity to use the extra horsepower of these new consoles to enhance the graphics and possibly frame rates of their previous titles, hopefully Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. This potentially explains why Nintendo has been holding off any announcements related to an expansion pass or DLC for the game, like I previously mentioned. It's possible that Nintendo is waiting to unveil the new console for this year, which will capitalize on the opportunity to market it and sell it by offering a free upgraded version of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This move could be accompanied by the launch of one of the first DLCs for the game, which will further incentivize current Switch owners and Zelda enthusiasts to buy a new Switch. But what do you guys think about the prospect of DLC for Tears of the Kingdom? Would you buy it? Would this be what convinces you to get a Switch 2, or were you planning on getting one regardless? I know I'm not the only one really excited to see what happens with Tears of the Kingdom and the next Nintendo Switch, but Nintendo seems to have a lot of secrets, and I'm sure the mystery mysteries will be unfolded in the coming months. But yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap it up with this video. Do me a favor, like the video if you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any future content. And until next time, this has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.